you have some epic battles in Pride and Shooto and all that. But what was your first introduction to actual competition, like first fight, amateur, pro, and all that stuff?
I've never had an amateur fight.
Oh, you went right into pro, huh?
Yes, because after seeing Rickson Gracie fight in the Vale Tudo 1995,
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to give it a shot. And the reason why I decided to fight wasn't because I thought I could fight, is because I wanted to test myself under extreme emotional situation. Because a lot of people, in life, you can do things very good, but when there's pressure, when there's people watching, if you're in a stadium, all of a sudden you can't get the consistency that you had in practice. And it was the same thing for racquetball. I could hit a shot 100 times perfectly, but when you get in the court, when there's people watching, when there's nerves, when every shot counts, all of a sudden your percentage goes to 70, 60%. I also saw a show when I was a little boy, watching a show with a family driving down the road. The husband lost control of the car, went off the edge, turned over, car caught on fire, and because he was panicking, he couldn't open the car door. And I always felt that one day in my life, when it comes down to a situation where I'm going to have a hard time controlling my emotions, and if it's something I have to do to save my family, I want to be able to be level-headed enough to actually be somebody that can help the situation. And I use sports to practice that. And in racquetball, it got pretty good, where I never could be as good as I was in the practice court, but I got pretty close to it. My consistency was pretty good when you compare it in practice and in the court. And I thought I had good control of my emotions. And, as you know, I trained Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Hawaii. I got to be good friends with Royce Gracie and Rickson Gracie. So when I was in Japan and Rickson came to fight in Japan, I went and watched to cheer him. And what surprised me was when he won the fight, he won against this guy, David Duvecki, which is a huge guy. And we're kind of afraid that this guy is so big, we hope Rickson can handle. And when Rickson choked him out, I remember I was so out of control, I stood up on the seat screaming. And it actually surprised me. And I was thinking, oh my God, I can't even control my emotions watching a friend fight in the ring. I just had this crazy desire to test myself in the ring and see how I could deal with my emotions if I was the one in the ring. And I felt that if I had that experience in the ring to control my emotions, I felt that it would help me be better prepared when I need to control my emotions in a life and death situation, possibly to save someone that I care about. And I never thought that I could ever control it completely, but I thought I could be I could control it better in a life and death situation if I had one time to try, test it in the ring. And that's when I got on this little mission of getting into the ring once. That's all I wanted to, is get into the ring once. I called around all the different Japan associations. I called rings. I called Pancras. All of them wanted me to send in a resume and wait for the new boy test. And I called UWF. They wanted me. I had to be like a certain age, a certain height, a certain size. And I was like, why does it matter if I can fight? But I realized the UWF was a pro wrestling ring. Yeah. And then I called, well, as I was waiting for rings and Pancras to have a new boy test, I called Shooto. And Shooto looked at me, and when I called Shooto and I told him that I did Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I'd like to maybe spar with your champion or possibly be an asset to your gym and maybe fight an amateur fight, they just straight up told me, oh, come check us out. Come down to the gym. Drove down to the gym. Sayama, the founder of Shooto, was there. There was a little guy in the gym, and he told me, why don't you do some grappling with him? I want to see your grappling. And I grappled with the guy. He was a lot smaller than me, but he didn't know positioning. He didn't know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So I mounted him. I took all the positions on him. And when that was done, I remember Sayama sitting down looking at that guy and saying, oh, we can use this guy. And that's where Sayama looked at me and said, can you make your pro debut in 3 months? And my first reaction to that was, no, I'm not a pro. I'm not fighting. I want an amateur fight. I just wanted one amateur fight just to test myself in the ring. Later on, I found out that guy was Nakaya Yuki, one of the top jiu-jitsu guys in Japan now.
Yeah.
and Sayama, I moved into the gym. I lived in one of the private rooms next door and trained every day for 3 months to prepare for my pro debut. And that's why I didn't go to amateurs. I went straight to the pros. I didn't want to. I actually thought I wanted to go start in the amateurs and work my way up. But I guess Sayama saw something that he knew that I could probably do good in the pros. And with the rule set that they had, I guess he knew my ground. My forte was my ground, so he wanted to. He actually changed the rules of shooting, because in Shooto there was no ground punching on the ground. I mean head punching in the mount position. They had only body punching. And when I went in, they decided they changed the rules to freestyle rules. They called it Shooto freestyle rules. That's where you could. It was like body tudo, where you could.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the pride rules now.
Yeah.
So it was weird because one fight just led to another. And after the first fight, I got usually you get a little black and white name in there, like Enson Inoue defeats Shigeta Shingo. It's a small little writing. But because there's a big hype on Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I had like a full color page. And I remember it saying, "Oh, there's a Japanese person that knows Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's a monster." And it was a full color page, So right there, Sayama got excited, said, "Can you please fight one more?" And that actually continued for 4 fights. And he said, "Please, Enson, fight one more." And on the 4th fight, I fought this guy named Andre Menard, which is one of the famous kickboxers. He used to fight in K1.
Yeah.
And when I beat him, that's when things started changing in my head, saying, "Hey, wait a minute. Maybe I am good at this, and maybe I can make a career of this." So up until my 4th fight, it was just one more. I always wanted to get back to Hawaii, where the beaches and the ocean is.